Hello, this is Mr. Unruh Reason, and I'm here to share an apgov.org podcast with you on the Chechen Wars. First of all, Chechnya, the area that we're going to be talking about today, is located here in the North Caucasus Mountains. You can see here the stretch of the Caucasus Mountains here, and Chechnya is a little subdivision inside of Russia that has long yearned to be independent. This is a zoomed-in view of the North Caucasus region, and we have Chechnya located right here. What I want to do is make sure that it's clear. I'm going to draw and emphasize this line here. Everything north of this line is part of Russia, and everything south of the line is an independent country. And Chechnya, as I said earlier, has long been wanted to be an independent country. And what happened when the Soviet Union collapsed is some countries, now Georgia is its own independent country, was able to become independent, but Chechnya wasn't. So we're going to focus in and look at the wars that have happened in this specific area in Russia. This flag represents when Chechnya was part of the Soviet Union, and a very important part of Chechnya's history is World War II, where they actually sided with the Nazi army, thinking that Hitler and the Nazis might give them more independence. Well, Hitler lost the war. Stalin was one to hold a grudge, and he basically purged the Chechen people and sent hundreds of thousands of them off to labor camps in Siberia. When they later returned under Khrushchev, it is estimated that 1/4 to 1/2 of the Chechen people were dead from Stalin's actions. This seems to be the kind of thing that somebody might hold on to and hold against Russia, and that's one of the motivations that leads to two Chechen wars in the 1990s and into 2000s. People who live in Chechnya are called Chechens, and these girls are in school, and the photographer commented when they took this picture that they see the hijab, or the headscarf, being worn by about half of the girls in the classroom. Now, it looks like many of the girls in this picture have a head covering on, but the photographer wanted to point out that more and more people in Chechnya are associating with their faith, with the Islamic faith, more and more and more. And this is an important religious cleavage between Eastern Orthodox or Russian Orthodox Russia and the Muslim Chechens. And remember, whenever there's a cleavage in society, there's going to be tensions, which is another reason for the two Chechen wars. When the Soviet Union collapses in 1991, Chechnya takes its opportunity to become independent. They declare their independence, and they are ignored until 1994, when the First Chechen War begins. The First Chechen War begins in December of 1994, and it ends disastrously for the Russians in 1996. The Russians roll in, and it is said that the Russian military was very demoralized during this entire war. They found themselves in a quagmire. They didn't feel support from the Russian people, who were undergoing the effects of economic shock therapy, and it just felt that it was a war that they didn't want to fight. Because the Russian ground forces weren't covering a lot of ground, Russia turned to its air force, and they carpet bombed much of Chechnya, especially in the capital city of Grozny, and you can see the effects here that the air war had on the Chechen capital, which has since been rebuilt after two Chechen wars. The First Chechen War has been called Yeltsin's Vietnam. While we lost fewer soldiers in Vietnam than the Vietnamese did, we lost the war. Same thing went in Chechnya. The Russians lost way fewer people. However, they lost the war. In fact, some of the statistics indicate that between 30 and 100,000 Chechens were killed, and 500,000 people were displaced from their homes during the First Chechen War. So here we have Yeltsin shaking hands with the Chechen war leader, and the Chechens basically emerge with an independent country from 1996 until 1999, when the Second Chechen War will begin. In 1999, the Islamification of Chechnya had continued to the point where the Islamic International Brigade, along with Chechen troops, attacked neighboring Dagestan to expand and to take control of more areas where Islamic people live. And this is what Vladimir Putin needs in 1999 to roll the Russian military once again into Chechnya to put this to a stop. The Second Chechen War lasts from 1999 until 2000. It's a much quicker war where the Russian military is much more prepared this time. You can see that similar devastation occurs. There are Russian deaths. There are many, many more. Chechen deaths. There are many, many calls of war atrocities and war crimes that are committed against the Chechen people. The Second Chechen War is really all about Putin's war on terror. He claims that the Islamic religion in Chechnya is a breeding ground for terrorism and a spreading of jihad from Chechnya to neighboring republics, and he is going to put down this terror. Putin justified his war and his increased power by what he saw as terror coming back home to Moscow. There were bombings in apartments where civilians were killed. A theater was taken over by Chechen rebels, leading to mass casualties. And perhaps one of the most brutal terrorist attacks when an entire school was taken captive on the first day of school, and many, many children were killed when Russian commandos stormed the school and explosives detonated, killing many. Today, Chechnya has been reclaimed by Russia and is a pro-Russian government has been installed. The war ended in 2000, the active fighting. However, there is an insurgency in the mountains that is still resisting Russian rule, and you'll have kind of continued attacks happening over time from the Chechen separatists. As a concern to Russia, why they wanted to put this rebellion down and bring Chechnya under their thumb was so that other republics didn't get the idea that they too could break away. And Putin wants to make sure that outside groups such as Al-Qaeda and other Islamic-based terrorist groups don't also come into Russia and exacerbate that tension between the Orthodox Christians who live in Russia and the Muslims who live in the North Caucasus region. Thanks for listening.